Hi, this is Jim Campanini and welcome to Wine Novice. I'm here in Andover today at Andover Liquors in Shawsheen Plaza. It's right off 28. Only about 10-15 minutes from Lowell. I actually made it in about 12 minutes today. So that's pretty good, and that's doing the speed limit. I'm with Andrea Di Fiore. She is the manager of this fine establishment. I met Andrea several weeks ago when I just walked in blind, and we started talking wine, and you know what? I was glad that I met her. She gave me some great suggestions on wine, and I figured I wanted you to meet her. So Andrea, thank you very much, and welcome
Thank
to
you.
the show.
Thanks for coming in.
Why don't you just give us a little history of the store? I saw the sign. This place has been open from the early 20th century.
Yeah, we've been open for 37 years. Our current owner has owned the store for 7 years, and I've been the wine manager and store manager for 5 years.
Give us a little about your background, because that's what really intrigued me. She's taken some very interesting courses and really studied about wine. So how did you get started?
I was always really passionate about wine. I was in the automobile business, and I was constantly reading about wine and just going to wine tastings, learning as much as I could about it, bringing as much in. I had spent some time in Italy with my mom, and she insisted that I follow my passion and not the almighty dollar. And I did that, and I went to BU, and I took the BU course, both business and in wine, and then I did the WSETs, which is a diploma program, which is a London-based course.
So what really intrigued you about it? It was Italian wines. I mean, that must have really pushed you right over to the
I'd have to say
your
that
passion.
my heart is in Italy. I do like several different, I feel like wine is like a pair of shoes. I have a new favorite every day, but I do always tend to go back to Italy.
So you like Imelda Marcos? You have over 1,000 bottles of wine, and you're.
And 90 pairs of shoes.
No. Do you collect wine? Do you do that at all?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
What are some of the type of wines that you like to? Do you do?
I'm a lover of Nebbiolo
Oh yeah, nice Italian grape.
and Chateauneuf du Pape.
Wow, nice tastes. That's a nice French wine. So tell us a little about when you buy the wines here for Andover Liquors.
Yes, so
Okay.
we taste everything before we purchase it.
So you go to wine tastings, buy the.
Well, there's two ways of doing it. Actually, distributors come into me,
Okay.
or I actually go to trade shows.
And when you taste the wine, what do you look for in a wine? How do you judge it or evaluate it?
Well,
Keep it simple for the wine novice, okay?
What happens is I learn what my customers' tastes are. So, everyone's different, and someone might like a wine that's very juicy. Someone might like a wine with really deep, dark tannins. Someone might like something that is really bright and citrusy. So I taste things, and I just sort of see where they'd fit in the store. But at the same point, I have a really good gauge of what people like.
Okay, so Andrea, someone comes into your store and they're not really, they really don't know what to expect or what to buy in a wine. How do you help them select a bottle of wine?
Well, the first question I ask is what type of wines they normally drink. And if they can remember, then that would put me in the direction of what they want. If they can't remember, then what is a good idea is to pick out 2 or 3 wines and say, go tell you a little bit about the wines, and then you take the wines home, and then you come back and tell me which one you liked and which one you didn't. And from there, I'm able to gauge where you want to go, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So some people like a lighter body white. Some people like a fuller body white.
Well, how do you evaluate a wine? Every wine that comes into your store, you can't actually taste every one of them, but you have a pretty good idea. Maybe you do. Maybe you do.
I can actually say that I've tasted, I would say, 94% of them.
Oh, I like this job. Imagine doing this.
I'm tasting them, Jim, but I'm also spitting them out.
Right, I understand. And that's what you have to understand. Even the wine novice, he spits it out when he's at work, okay, when I'm tasting it. Although, but you obviously have a very refined palate. You've developed the palate, you've taken the courses, you've done that. So what are some of the simple things that you judge the character or the quality of a wine on? Give me, the wine novice, some good advice.
Well, every wine has a personality, okay? So a Sauvignon Blanc from a certain area, okay, from California will be very sort of tropical fruit, citrus, okay? From New Zealand, it's going to have more gooseberry and tropical fruit. So if I go, that's how sort of I judge a wine, is I gauge it on the fruits that I have.
Very good.
Does that make sense?
Yes. I say, gee, it's more cherry, less cherry. More strawberry, less strawberry. Dark fruit. I mean, it really...
Well, I mean, if you tasted a Pinot Noir and you had tobacco on the Pinot Noir, it probably means that it's not a good Pinot Noir. Because most Pinot Noirs are bright red fruit.
Right. All I can say is that I know what I like, and I'm going to stick to it. But that's great. But you know what? The great enjoyment is trying different wines, especially now, trying from different countries and the different tastes. I mean...
Well, I mean, the other thing, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but today's technology, I mean, they're producing, I mean, everyone's producing beautiful wines because we have the technology. Where back years and years ago, it wasn't like that. So I think I think there are more good wines out there than there are bad wines in today.
That's very good to know. So does it matter the price range for a bottle of wine? I mean, someone comes in your store cold, and a wine store could be intimidating, okay,
Most
to some
definitely.
people. But yet,
Definitely.
every time I've been in one, it's been an experience. I look for the experience. I like to look at different things and ask people their opinions, especially people like you. So how do you handle that type of customer?
Well, can you say that again?
Well, okay, someone who comes in off the street really doesn't know the price range. They think that, oh, I'm going to a party. I got to bring a bottle of wine. Sometimes more often than not, they'll probably overspend because they don't want to be seen as,
Well, I mean, I luck out because I have a huge selection. So, I mean, you can give me a price point and I can find you a $10 bottle of wine in Spain. I can find you a $20. I can find you a $60. I can find you a $100. So, I mean, I have a phenomenal selection, as you can see. So then I have more ability. It's not like I have 20 placements and, I only have one of this and one of that.
Okay, you're going to we've got some holidays coming up. It's just a regular, say we're going to a house party. Okay, there's going to be a group of people there. All right, here's an etiquette question that my wife asked me. Now, when you go to a party like that, you're not expecting the host or the hostess to open up your bottle of wine, right? They already have their own, unless they say in the invitation.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
but now...
This is a wine that they'll probably enjoy at a later time.
Okay.
Which then they'll come into me and say, I don't know where I got it or who brought it to my house, but do you have it?
Right. So now you step up. Say you're going to a dinner party. There's going to be 4 couples there. Do you ask what's going to be on the menu so you can try to match it up, or a similar type thing? You just bring a bottle of wine that the host and hostess can have later.
Enjoy later. No, well, I always ask. I don't know if it is proper etiquette, but I like to match things up with food because I like the whole experience. But I mean, if you do ask, then we can find the bottle for you, and if you don't ask, then we can also find it.
Okay, a nice piece of steak is going to be on the menu, a grilled steak.
I
What
would
would you be
definitely
suggesting?
lean you towards a Cabernet.
Beautiful. That's what I like.
Big, full body, or a Meritage, or I'd even go to a Bordeaux, because Bordeaux is, can be Cab or Merlot based.
Good. Okay, now you must have a lot of regular customers here. They must love coming into this store.
Well, what we do is, and another good way to find what you like about wine is to go to tastings. So we have tastings every Saturday, which you can also go to our website, which is www.andoverliquors.com, and it lists all our events. But we do tastings every Saturday, so that's a good way to come into the store and taste and figure out what you like and what you don't like without buying it.
Okay, now what other services do you do for your customers?
We have we can come to people's houses and do wine tastings.
Wow.
We have been voted best beer section in Massachusetts.
A lot of microbrews?
Tons of microbrews.
Wow, I didn't know that.
We
That's
actually
good.
have a beer from every country. And we've been voted from both North Shore, Boston's Best. We have all the awards on both our beer and our fine wine.
Okay, so give me a little about the wine tasting. If I wanted you to have wine tasting in my house, how does that work? Do I tell you how many people are going to be over?
Yeah.
And do you have a different
and what
price
we do,
range? Or?
Yeah, well, we can tailor it to whatever your needs are. Some people will do 3 reds and 3 whites. So we'll give you a lighter body white, medium body white, and a full body white to just show people how, different richness in the palate. And then we do the same thing with the reds.
Okay, now, one of the greatest attributes of this store, they do have a great selection. How many bottles would you say are in there, wine, bottles of wine you have in here?
3,500.
3,500 for sale, but they have a great premium section. And Andrea, if you wanted a particular bottle of wine, whether it's from California, Chile, New Zealand, or France, I think she can find it for you. So we're going to take you into this premium spot, and you can look at some of these wonderful quality wines. Hi, here we are at the fine wine room at Andover Liquors, and this is actually Andrea's office and working space. Andrea, what goes on
So
in
this
this
is
room?
where actually all the salespeople and all the distributors come in, and this is where I do all the tasting for the store. So, and then this is also the room that customers actually are allowed to shop. So these are all sort of our fine wines, and we have wines from, I mean, everywhere, from the United States to Italy, France, going all the way back.
Now, I was particularly intrigued several weeks ago when I saw that I read in Wine Advocate, the new Brunellos came out, and they rated the top one, La Serena, 97 points. I had never seen such never owned a perfect bottle of wine like that. And I came in there and I was amazed that you had the bottle of wine and you were charging only $2 over the price point that was listed in Wine Advocate. I was shocked. I mean, it wasn't like you were gouging anybody. You had that wine right there, and most of these other wines are just within the same price range. That I was amazed. So it's how can you do that?
Well, actually, I buy most of the Brunellos I buy on futures, so it's really, I mean, I do a lot of reading, and I review past reviews. I look at what the winery's been doing, any changes, and then I sort of just make my decision.
Okay, out of all these wines, what is your favorite? Show us the favorite that you. Well, you might have more than one favorite,
Yeah,
but show us that you have a particular.
I have more than one favorite. I actually just tasted the Robert Foley, which this is the Griffin. It's a blend. It's from Napa, and I fell in love with it. It's full body, rich. It has tons of tannins. It also has some fruit, but it has like a smoky tar tobacco quality to it.
And what would that
And
go
I thought
well
this
with?
wine, a steak would be perfect. But I thought this wine, for the price tag, it was $39. I thought it tastes like a $60 bottle of wine.
Wow. Okay, so I'm going to have a nice pasta, okay, with some meat sauce, a nice thick marinara sauce
Okay.
that the wine goddess makes. What would be great for that?
Nebbiolo.
Nebbiolo. Describe the Nebbiolo grape. Why is it so attractive? Is that it's so?
The Nebbiolo grape.
What would the grape taste like?
Well, to me, I mean, it's floral. Has tons of sort of black fruit. Sometimes it can have like a dried fruit quality to it. Nice tannins.
And it would go great with pasta?
Oh, it would love basil. It would love garlic.
Oh, wow.
It would
Okay.
love plum
And what's the
tomatoes.
price on that?
$32.99.
That's not bad. You want a great meal? This is a great wine, and you'll enjoy it. Well, Andrea, I want to thank you very much.
Thank you.
This was
Thanks for
delightful.
coming in.
And I look forward to seeing you again. Pleasure.